Hello, my name is Gregory Burkett, and I am originally from Waukegan, Illinois. I have never shaved my head, couldn't grow a beard if I wanted to, still have my original name, and I have no exotic plants behind me. However, I do have a lucky bamboo plant with me. My credibility is already suffering, isn't it? At the age of 17, while studying psychology, I came across the concept of enlightenment, and I knew from that moment that enlightenment was my life's purpose. I began the great search and adopted several meditative practices. Within a year, I experienced what could be called a near-death experience or cosmic consciousness. I never mentioned the experience to anyone for years, but I immediately began to find a way to put my experience into words. I studied the world's religions. I also decided that I would write a summary of humankind's understanding of spirituality on one sheet of paper. How crazy is that? 18 years went by, and then I realized that a sheet of paper has two sides. The pressure was off. I wrote a statement of understanding in about an hour. It is now my webpage at personalenlightenment.com. Now YouTube comes along, and you have only 10 minutes. How about 7 minutes? Another great challenge. So let's get started. Enlightenment is transcending the ego, or perceiving without the interference of the ego. It is seeing what is right in front of you without the ego. It has been called such things as ego death, the dark night of the soul, and being born again. I am going to attempt to describe the transcendence of the ego. Let's begin with, what is the ego? It is a bundle of memories, beliefs, likes and dislikes, theories about how things work, the me and not me, what we have been taught, our socialization, what we have heard on the news, peak experiences and terrifying experiences. It is what we refer to when we say I. It is the bundle that makes me different from everybody else. It is like a pair of glasses we put on each day through which we view everything. It is why we see things differently. We all have a different pair of glasses based on our past experiences. It is why we cannot agree on what God is, truth is. The ego is primarily constructed of thought, which is limited by everything I have just mentioned. Now, if you have not transcended the ego, if you have not put aside your thoughts about things, if you have not taken off the glasses, you have never truly seen what is before you. Never. Well, I can't really say never. The mind stops when it sees something beautiful for the first time, or when you have a brush with death, like a car accident. These are times when the ego is lost in the present moment. So how do we see without the ego? How do we transcend the ego? I will try to explain a way to do it. First, become aware of your ego's activity through thought. You know, the constant verbalizations in your head, the labeling, the comparing, the judging, the worrying. We see something or someone, and we immediately have a thought reaction. He is less intelligent than me. He has a better job. She is crazy. I remember when he said this or did that. It is endless. That is the ego in action. Now you identify with thought. You identify with the ego. You are your thoughts. You are put together by thought. What I hope you can see is that thought is not a vehicle for truth or reality. It is a fabricated little world called me. If you believe in it, if you trust it, you will never let it go. You will never let it die. By observing the ego in action, you begin to develop choiceless awareness instead of simply indulging in the ego. You have begun a new movement in your consciousness. This is a meditation where the content of your daily mental life is the object of your attention. Now what? You have seen how your perception has always been colored by thought. You have seen that you have identified yourself with the ego, the bundle. Now you are ready for part 2. Hold on, here we go. Enlightenment is making the internal external as well, and identifying yourself with the witness of all internal and external phenomena. There, I said it. You know, some people identify with objects around them, their house, their car, their job, etc. In reality, however, you know the self is not any of these things. You don't confuse yourself with a cloud or a tree. These are external phenomena. Well, what about internal phenomena, like thoughts which make up the ego? Could it be possible that these things are external to the self also? I can tell you this. If you can observe something, you are at once separate from it. You become the observer or the witness. Try this. Practice this. When you are thinking, say to yourself, I am the observer of what I see, the red traffic light, the impatience. I am not the thoughts I am having right now. I am the observer or witness of these thoughts. This is called repositioning yourself upstream of thought. You are that which is aware of everything or objects. You are determining what is you and what is not you. You are shifting your consciousness from ego to something beyond ego. Enlightenment is when the ego is seen for what it is. It is seen for the first time, every time. It is seen without self-reference. It is seen without the past getting in the way. Take off the glasses or simply realize you are not your thoughts. Your thoughts are not an adequate device for knowing anything. Now you might say, that is all well and good, but I want to experience timelessness, infinity, expanded states of consciousness. Remember, it is the ego that wants, desires, and seeks. It is always unhappy with the present moment. Besides, the ego cannot will into being something outside of itself. Remember, enlightenment is transcending the ego. J. Krishnamurti said it well. You cannot make a breeze come through your house. You can only leave the windows open. It comes when it will. Namaste.